Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our special live stream panel that we are still celebrating Veteran Small Business Week 2025. I'm Becky Gertler, the director of the Utah Veteran Business Resource Center. I'm honored to be your host for today's powerful conversation about who is in your squad in entrepreneurship. And as we recognize incredible contributions of veteran and military connected entrepreneurs, including Gold Star families, spouses, we're talking veteran, active duty, reserve guard, and military spouses. Across the country, today's discussion is all about the people, organizations, and networks that help make business ownership not just possible, but sustainable and successful. You're going to hear from some powerful people today, whether you're just starting out scaling your venture. Your squad matters. It's your mentors, your community, your advisors, and your cheerleaders that matter to help you keep moving forward. And today we're joined by these amazing lineup of leaders. I'll introduce them in just a moment. But first, before we dive in, I would love to take a minute to thank our generous sponsors and partners who made this whole week possible. We're 4 down, 1 to go. We're finishing out the week strong tomorrow with our keynote speaker from the Unite conference. But thank you to Forged by Service for putting this webinar series together with us. We're grateful for the support we have from Syracuse University's Institute for Veterans and Military Families, the IVMF. They're fantastic. They have a lot of resources for all of you. The IVMF Ambassador Group, there's 150 of us across the country, more than 150 of us, that can help and get you connected to your local resources. We're grateful to Salt Lake Community College for hosting us here and for the support we receive from our state and the Utah Department of Veterans of Military Affairs. We're also grateful for the SBA and its support of veterans. I know they're shut down right now, but their Office of Veteran Business Development has been a phenomenal support for us. And of course, we want to thank the Small Business Development Centers, the VBOX, everyone across the country that works so hard to support entrepreneurship. So we have a commitment to empowering veteran entrepreneurs, and we're going to get started with our conversation. So let's meet our incredible panelists and explore how each one of them has built and continues to build their squad. So let's get started. Welcome, everybody. We have the amazing Dr. Sydney Shorter with us today. She is the president and CEO of the Utah Black Chamber. She is running at 1 million miles every day and very impressive. You're going to hear a little bit more about what she's been able to do, and the wisdom that she's going to drop here is going to be phenomenal for you all. We also have Jackie Hobson, who is the director of our St. George Small Business Development Center. She's also a veteran, and she's going to be joining us tomorrow for our Unite conference as well. So excited to see her. In a moment, you're going to meet another business owner, Juan Whiting, who's been really working in the agriculture space for veterans. And then you have on here as well, Ryan Patrick Hunt, who is with Forged by Service as well as 10th Mountain Recruiting. And you have Luke Medvegi, sorry, Luke, who's joining us. He is in a magical tin can heading over to Chicago. So we're excited about him. He's a business owner. He has a few businesses that he does. He's got a wealth of knowledge for business advising and help, but he's one of the ambassadors with me with IVMF as well as Ryan. So thank you all for being here. We're going to kick off.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to kick off and let you guys share a little bit about what you do with your organizations. And then we're going to dive into some questions that I think is going to bring some real value to our folks here listening. So Dr. Shorter, we'll start with you.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity, Becky. So I'll be very brief. As the Utah Black Chamber of Commerce, our mission and our goal is to ensure all businesses are vital to the economic ecosystem. And so with that in mind, understanding not just what success looks like, but we're talking about success, we're talking about sustainability, we're talking about effective, efficient, and compliant financial infrastructure, growth trajectory, as well as legacy. So that's really the focus of the work we do here at the Utah Black Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. Jackie, go ahead.
Yeah, glad to be here. Small Business Development Center, if you're not aware of it, we provide free business counseling across the nation to small businesses, which is great. I've ran multiple businesses, and sometimes when I first started, I didn't know they existed. So it's so great to have someone that can soundboard with you, that knows what questions you should be asking that you don't know, right? Because it's new for you. A lot of the centers around the country offer different trainings as well. It's just a really great resource from startup to valuation to capital to exit strategy, helping quite a few people right now purchase businesses and a couple people exit. And so a lot of times we think SBDC, if you're aware of it, might only be startup, but we have a lot of resources that will help you in any stage of your business.
Great. Awesome. We'll go over to Luke.
Hey, so my name is Luke and Becky. It's a pleasure to be here, Becky. It's always a true honor to work with you. You bring so much energy to the tribe, and I really appreciate what you're doing this week with BBRC in Utah, Veteran Business Resource Center. But really, you're bringing national level attention, and I really appreciate you for doing that. So a little about my business. As a business navigator, we help not only hire vets, but consulting and pitching. And also, as of yesterday, we talked about the American Heroes Equine Connection, where we help veterans, first responders with PTSD. Thank you, Becky. It's a pleasure to be here, and I hope to add some value.
Great. Thank you. We'll go to Ryan.
All right. Well, thank you first off to Becky and to everyone that is joining this conversation. It's definitely important. And what's important is if we have one veteran or mill spouse or mill brat that's transformed by something that one of us says today, I think it's definitely going to be worthwhile to have this conversation with everybody. Ryan Hunt, serial entrepreneur, and a lot of what I do is in the veteran space. So one of my businesses is 10th Mountain Recruiting, and really blessed that this year we've been able to extend over 50 plus offers to the military community as a whole. So that was pretty powerful, and we hope to continue to hire and get Americans, but also get military veterans and military spouses and mill brats to work if they want to work. And if not, then I am also an entrepreneur and a part of the Institute for Veterans and Military Families Bunker Lab program. So definitely here is a resource for veterans that are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs, or maybe you're already in it. I can be a sounding board for sure. And I'm easy to find. I'm on LinkedIn, Ryan Patrick Hunt. I think I'm one of the only Ryans with the Patrick in there. So take a look, let's connect, and thank you all. Let's talk.
Yeah, and then we're going to bounce to Juan. Thank you, Juan, for joining us. Sorry, I wanted to make sure you had the link, and I missed that, so I apologize.
No, that's on me. I'm really grateful to be here, and even though I might be technologically challenged, I am a fourth generation farmer and rancher, so it's not my fault. It's my dad's. But yeah, I am so grateful to be here and deeply passionate about what I do. I'm with the Hinterland Institute. And what we're doing is pretty revolutionary. We're taking veterans, training them on regenerative grazing, and then connecting them to DOW land. Not just DOW land, but to a lot of the private land that's out there. A lot of the people that, watched Yellowstone and decided that they wanted to buy a huge ranch, but didn't know what that meant. We want to be able to give these veterans an opportunity to have a second mission, and that mission is going to be going out there and restoring our lands and bringing healthy meat to the table.
Yeah, thank you. I want to remind our audience who may be watching that this is meant to be a little bit interactive. Well, probably, hopefully, really interactive. You do have the way to put comments on. We're streaming this live on our Facebook or our LinkedIn page. They're streaming this on the Vet Social page. Thank you to Vet Social. I forgot that one. Thank you. And we are going to be partnering with them. Hopefully, we're planning out some stuff for next year to do more of these webinars, to bring content, and partnering with them together to really continue important conversations, because we're not going to have time to talk about everything that we need to on this call. And as much as I love all of these people, this is a very expensive room right here, and I cannot ask them to spend a whole 4 days with me, even though I would love that, in talking about all of this. So we'll get some pieces of information from each of them, and we're going to dive in. I'm really thrilled that they're willing to do this. So thank you again to all of you. I'm going to bounce over to Dr. Shorter, because the reason why we're having we have business owners, we have the Small Business Development Center, Veteran Business Resource Center, and we've got our Chamber of Commerce. A lot of businesses don't really know how to utilize a Chamber of Commerce sometimes, or they expect because they paid a membership into it, they should get an immediate ROI. So I want to talk about how does being part of a Chamber of Commerce, especially when focused on empowering entrepreneurs, help business owners build a strong network?
Yeah, let's jump into that. Understanding that being an entrepreneur can be isolating. But within the chamber, you have an opportunity. We talk about community, but there has to be this sense of community and relationship among those who are entrepreneurs trying to build businesses, trying to build their legacy. But it's also important to be able to gain access to entities, organizations, resources, and opportunities that you most likely will not have the opportunity, sometimes the social capital or the time. I often talk about how, as the chamber, we work for you as you are building your business. We are in spaces and places and rooms and at tables that when you're building your business and investing your time there, we are your extension. We are your arms, your legs, your eyes to identify those opportunities. That's why it's important for you to connect. That's why it's important for you to show up, for us to understand what it is you need. And then we are doing the work to try to ensure that we bring those opportunities to bear for you.
Yeah, that's a really important thing. And it does take, it is a relationship. It's not just a membership in something. It's a relationship that it's two ways. You got to give, you got to take, right?
It opens doors for mentorship opportunities, for capital, for partnerships, for visibility.
Yeah.
All of those things are so critically important. And investing in it's a way to invest to really mitigate many of the challenges you may have as an entrepreneur, and it's investing in your growth.
Yeah, thank you. Great. Really, really great question. Again, please be interactive with us. Post some comments or questions that you have. We love to hear from our audience as we go, and we can all see the comments. So, Jackie, I'm going to bounce to you now and say, and I want to ask you this question about building your squad, keeping that in mind. How does the Small Business Development Center, because there's thousands of them across the nation, so there's no reason anyone can't find one in their state, but how does the Small Business Development Center help entrepreneurs build a squad that includes their financial, legal, and strategic support that they might need?
Yeah, great. Well, I will say we always encourage a Bell team, right? So that's kind of what you're talking about, that banker, that accountant, insurance, legal. We're really connected in our local communities. And so often we have resources for those. I like to say we're very level-headed though, right? We understand the startup phase and we understand cash flow. So our big important thing is making sure you're aware of things that are needed in all those really important areas so you can communicate with them. A lot of our SBDCs around the nation too, they'll have free courses like up where you are, Becky. I know once a month you have some legal people come in, right? So there's resources where they're tapped into that maybe you don't want to put an attorney on retainer or anything like that, right? But you should understand what aspect and world that plays in the small business space. And so we're very connected. I think it's really important to to just go visit with an SBDC and see what's out there. Because like I said, I've been, I'm an entrepreneur. When I first started, I didn't realize anything, that I needed to know. I didn't realize how many hats I was going to wear. And I see that every day with people that I work with, right? They have a really great skill set. They want to start and do that. And then they're like, wait a minute, like that's like 10% of my job compared to all these other things, right? And so the SBDC is there to help you understand all those hats that you need to wear. We don't expect you to be an expert in them, and you should neither, because you should stay an expert in your lane, but we want to help you understand the questions to ask, understand the language, understand what's important to be considering, and then help you connect you sometimes with free resources. Maybe they're not free, but we help you connect you to the community around you to fulfill all those different roles that you're supposed to do as a business owner.
Yeah, that's perfect, because there's a sense of relief that comes when you're able to like actually hand that hat over to somebody else and be like, I don't have to wear this hat anymore right now. This is amazing, right? Suddenly my head feels a little bit lighter. That's great. Great response. Luke, I'm gonna come over to you, and I would love to know, because when you're building your business, and I know you know this from the few that you've been doing, you have to make sure that your values and your strategies can align well. So how do you recommend entrepreneurs build their squad that's both strategic and values aligned with what you're trying to do?
So I think that's a great question, and thanks for asking me, Becky. So how does one build their business when it comes to strategy and values align? And I'm just going to speak from my heart. My heart is that you start with the values before you start with the vision. And my logic thought is that skills can be taught, but a shared purpose, and who believe in that mission.
We're getting the cliffhangers from Luke.
Sorry, did you get me? Did you hear it?
It was cliffhanger right as you said the good stuff.
Right.
So values before the vision. And you build with people who believe in the mission, not just a business model. And I believe in that you'll go further. Just as Juan Whiting mentioned, comes from a long legacy of family and farming, and now he's transforming that passion and helping other veterans. So same theory there. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, thank you. No, that's great. I love the thought of starting with your values first, because once you define those, makes it a lot easier to stay. That kind of puts those guardrails up, so you don't have that creep of like, oh, well, now we're doing all of this. So moving over there. Yeah, go ahead.
I meant Juan Whiting. I mispronounced it. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, good. So Ryan, when you're looking at, we're kind of feeding off of what Luke said about making sure your values are there and everything. Once you pull that team together, what is the power that you see of peer mentorship in the veteran entrepreneurship or space, and how do you foster that in your own business?
Wow, peer. So when I think of peer mentorship or peer coaching, I actually think of Luke Medvegi, and I think of you also, Becky, because you're definitely one of my peers, and I'm constantly leveraging both of you to bounce ideas off and to continue to really grow and amplify and elevate what I'm doing. Hopefully I'm bringing value back to you as well. But even today, Luke's internet connection's a little spotty here and there, as we saw with the cliffhangers. And the reason for that is he's actually on a train coming from Indiana up to Chicago, where both of us are coming together for 72 hours and doing a joint planning session and after action review for this last year. It's a powerful thing that we've decided is important to invest our time and our resources into. So we've made this becoming a tradition now, where we're talking about what each individual person's or organization's lines of effort are, what our overall missions are, and then coming together and where we can fusing together and creating lines of effort for that joint operation or that fusion. So having peers that I can be able to talk to, communicate with, bounce my ideas off of, my good ideas, they're not always so good, is really important. And I think that's reciprocal too, that, people like Luke or are you, Becky, or even within the Bunker Lab ecosystem, the Bunker Lab ambassador ecosystem, we're all doing this. It's important, I think, to growing our businesses and really being able to understand and who we are, and to see who we are. So that's really it in a nutshell.
I love that. That's great. The things that you guys are dropping are like amazing. I'm glad you're recording this so I can go back and take notes. But Juan, I want to ask you a question, because we just talked about this morning. He and I were having a conversation, and he said, I realized some of the mistakes I had made as a business owner, now looking at it through the lens of entrepreneurship. So I want to ask this question to you, like, what surprised you more or the most about the kinds of support you needed, and where did you find it when you needed it?
Oh, that's really interesting, because in the beginning of your journey, I mean, you're kind of just looking for anything, right? And I think that's where our conversation kind of went. As entrepreneurs, we're just scrappy, running around, building relationships, and kind of you take what you can get in the very beginning, but then as you get to a point where you're building momentum and you realize your value, because I think that's the biggest hurdle for an entrepreneur. It's not when you start bringing in money, it's when you finally realize this is the value I bring, right? And that can come before you start, cash flowing. You can understand that people are seeing the momentum and the power that you bring into the table, and people are putting you in rooms, and there's a lot more that you can do, in terms of like a lot more that you can understand about where you're at with business, just by knowing where you're at, like seeing the people that you're around and the excitement that's building. I think that's just as important as cash flow. But as you get to that point, it's important to start to reassess the support that you're bringing on. And I think that's where we kind of hit the point with Hinterland, is that we started looking and saying, hey, there's these awesome partners that maybe they just came on, but they see you up here, and at the very beginning you're just like down here, and you're on the low end of the totem pole, because it's kind of like how your family sees you, to be honest. It's like, your mom's looking at you and you're like, you're still that little baby boy. I don't see you up here. But then there's other people, and I think most people's moms see him up here, but it's maybe like your baby brother. I think that's more realistic, that he'll be looking at you and be like, man, you're still that schmuck that that's down here. And I think that keeping yourself around people that see the value, that see your potential, that's critical, because this is such a roller coaster ride. Entrepreneurial, this world is such a, it's so volatile. Every time you're getting in these conversations, you think you're going somewhere, and then it just closes. There's a lot of closed doors. There's a lot of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
But there, at the same time, there's a lot of excitement if you can maintain those relationships where they see your potential.
Yeah, thank you. Going from looking at it from the beginning, that lens, and going, oh, I've got to think about these things. I've got to do all these things. I'm going to do it this way. And then getting down the road and finding out, like, wait a second, I can't do it the way I wanted it planned. Ryan says it all the time, planning is everything, but the plan is nothing, right?
Well, and I think that there's a good point to that, because we're actually at the stage where we've had to go and reset,
mm-hmm.
because there's been so much change. And anyone who's done a business plan knows this. That business plan lasts maybe 6 months, and you got to, at the most, and then you've got to go back and start. Sometimes you need to look back and say, is this our mission still? And then you reassess, you recalibrate, you do your after action review like Ryan's talking about, and then you say, okay, our new mission. And it's okay to have a new mission and be like, actually, we're seeing the excitement and the momentum is here. Maybe we were too focused on, this part of it. And I think that that's really critical. You you need to be resetting every once in a while.
Yeah, and I love that, because I want to stay on this topic for just a little bit more, but I want Jackie to chime in. You mentioned a business plan is good for 6 months, and in what you've experienced with your business. So Jackie, you and I both, and we all work together to help veterans, and we work together to help. You're helping the whole community. We're working with veterans, and we're trying to help them understand how to keep their business plans current, or where their holes are, where they can get fixes for those. So when you're working with clients, what are the most overlooked resources that entrepreneurs should be tapping into, that they can get from the SBDC or a VBOC, or wherever that you're aware of?
Well, one, starting with business plans, obviously all our resources can help with those. I know you do your team does a lot of business plans. I try to convince people that they're not just for startups, and they're not just for when you need money, right? And I find that if I turn it into like a phrase of like, it's your growth plan or your strategy plan, right? Then they're more apt for it. But they all have the same type of parts, right? And when I'm helping someone too, I get them to be like, let's make some SMART goals for 6 months, for 12 months. And then let's put lots of pins in. What am I thinking for 3 years? What am I thinking for 5 years? That helps us think strategically, right? But I love it because it's going to change anyways. And that's why I don't want to put a lot of effort there. But as we change and as we grow and go into your resource and soundboard and talk about pain points, that's going to be beneficial. When you ask basically just what are overlooked resources within the SBDC and the support world, I talked to someone yesterday that spent $1,000 just to get an LLC, right? And every time I talk to someone like that makes my heart,
It's,
right? Because I'm like,
so painful. It's so painful.
Yes. So, I mean, as an SBDC, I always have to be clear. I'm not legal. I'm not an accountant. I can't give professional advice, right? But I've been in this ecosystem for 20 years, and I know the things that you should be looking for, and I know the ways businesses get taken advantage of, and I know what's out there that's just free help, right? So that is a huge aspect that the SBDC can help you with. But it's not just startup, like I said in my first comment, it's anywhere. Maybe you are not where you need to be on your bottom line, right? You may be struggling, and a lot of entrepreneurs I see, well, let's just raise prices then. Well, that could be the worst thing, because now you might actually steer away some of your paying customers, right? But you could go into a resource partner like the SBDC, like the DBRC, right? And we can look through your numbers. I know most people hate numbers. Not everyone. There's the nerds out there. I'm kind of nerdy. But they want to do their job, right? And they love that. And that's their value and the passion and everything they love. But the numbers really help us understand what's going on in your business. And you don't need to be afraid of them, right? You can bring them into an SBDC counselor and we can look at them. And we pull market research. The SBDC is great at pulling market research. And I know everyone thinks they're a researcher nowadays with ChatGPT, but can I tell you, that shoots out a lot of wrong information. I think using that as a tool is great. But I mean, I've played with it to try to do a quick thing if I only have a second in my phone, right? Just to ask a question. And then I go and I pull industry reports from IBIS World, from BizMiner, like these paid platforms that the SBDC can pull information for you from for free. And I'm like, wow, yeah. I mean, I know ChatGPT lies, but that's really not right, right? And so certain things you want to go with a counselor, and we might be able to pull and do some financial benchmarking and say, like you're paying 15% more on advertising than what everybody else in your industry is, or whatever it may be, or you're not paying enough, or your wages are too high. That's very beneficial when you're starting out, or you're even in the weeds. And I say start out, but sometimes I have people that did awesome and they're doing millions in revenue, but their mindset is still like, I'm figuring this out, right? You don't need to be perfect, but let's go in and let's do deep dives together. So like I said, it's really everything the SBDC can help you with. And we don't claim to be experts in everything, but we know a lot, and we have awesome
that I have found. And the military culture, I know, Dr. Shorter, you've been a military spouse. And so you've been ingrained in that culture as well. And how, talking about that with representation from the cultures that mix in with the military culture, community is a big part of that. And you have to build a community and teach everybody, like, yeah, that's the culture here, but this is how the community works. So how would you go about, like, what role does that play in building a resilient entrepreneurial squad?
So let me start the answer this way. So representation is power. And it reminds you, number one, especially being military, you're always a stranger, at least every 3 or 4 years, right? But understanding, no matter where you are, you belong in the room. You belong, especially from an entrepreneurial standpoint, and being a part of the squad, right? You still belong in rooms where decisions are made and the opportunities are created. I am a believer that everyone is a leader. And sometimes we have to cultivate that. We have to coach that for everyone to understand. But the reality is, when people see themselves reflected in leadership, in business, and community, it builds confidence, it builds resilience. And as an entrepreneur, small, scrappy teams, we don't want to wear it as a badge of honor of being resilient, but it's a requirement. Then the cultural representation, to me, gives entrepreneurs really the permission to just be authentic. If you are the geek and the nerd, or if you really are the 45-year-old young-minded kid that your mom really sees, that goes after everything, and that's your energy, that should be who you are everywhere. And to create without apology, build businesses that honor both your purpose and your profit. And like for veterans, or for anyone whose identity carries a story of service, of discipline, perseverance, that shared experience becomes the foundation of trust and the unity to be able to have an effective squad, community, or collaborative partners. And then talking about community in the sense that that is what your squad becomes. The people who remind you that you're not building alone. And with that comes the accountability partners, your sounding board, your safety net. And then that's what makes entrepreneurship sustainable. It's not just what you know, it is who stands with you when and as you're growing.
Yeah, phenomenal. It's something that's so important to keep top of mind when you're adding people into the inner circle, right? There's a lot of things you got to take into consideration. And Dr. Shorter and I have had several conversations, and I always appreciate the wisdom that she brings. And it also, you can feel what she's saying, right? You can feel it. So thank you for that. We're going to come back to some other questions, hopefully as time allows. But Luke, how's your service? Are you going to be Sylvester Stalloning this as cliffhanger?
No, I think I'm good right now. It says 5G, so
Excellent.
I'm ready to answer a question.
Okay. I would love for you to share an example of a squad win that you've had with your businesses. Like, what's a moment where collaboration led to a breakthrough for success for you? Cliffhanger. Or Ryan, you want to answer that question?
Jeez, oh my goodness. On the spot. Luke, you're driving me nuts, buddy. He's frozen. Feel like I'm in
Ryan,
the... No, go for it, my friend.
Ryan,
go
you got
for
it. So
apparently you're unfrozen
squad
now.
win is exactly what we're doing right now. What we're doing right now is an example of a squad win. We're elevating, we're communicating. No, I mean, it really is. Ryan mentioned his 5-year journey, but how about many people he's pulled up and moved with him? I always say even a pebble thrown on a lake and enough pebbles as such as veterans can help reshape shorelines. So for me, the business navigators, veteran coaching and business has been coming together has been an example of squad wins. Over to you, Ryan.
over to me. Squad wins. I mean, I could talk about this actually, which is I host an annual conference, Veteran Social Summit, and this last time we had 70 plus speakers and over 1,000 registered attendees. And the squad win is those 70 plus speakers that came from the military veteran community, including Becky was there. But all of these individuals bought in to this little guy's vision for the Veteran Social Summit, which was really to unite, to grow, amplify, and elevate the veteran community. And we did that through, meaningful discussion, kind of like we're doing today, and exchanging ideas and sharing of resources. So I think on a big scale with these 70 plus individuals that signed on and gave back to the veteran community, that was a huge squad win. That's bigger than a squad, really, but it was a squad win for sure.
Yeah, that's great. I think we lost Jackie. The power and internet just went out in her building. So talk about cliffhanger. But I want to jump to Juan here and ask, because we've been talking about building the squad and the breakthroughs that can happen from those.
Oh no. Now Becky's the cliffhanger. So Juan, we were talking about building of the squad. Oh, go ahead, Becky.
There we go. Oh, did I freeze now? I'm the cliffhanger.
You were the cliffhanger.
Yeah, I don't know. The Ides of March extended into October or something. But okay, Juan, over to you. We're going to talk about as a business owner, how do you decide who belongs in your inner circle of advisors, mentors, and collaborators? On that note, we just talked about breakthroughs that can happen. How do you decide who gets to be with you with those breakthroughs?
Well, I think you let people show up. There's tons of opportunities to get them to show up. And one thing that the kind of the litmus test that I use is I'll ask to get put in rooms that, I have no business being in. And those people that kind of support me and get in there, I start looking and saying, you know what, this is someone, like I said before, that sees your potential. And I mean, I'm lucky enough to have a wife that I know that she sees what I don't see in myself. And that's just a powerful way to keep going up and up and up. And I think that's a big litmus test that I use. But on top of that, just people that are open and transparent. Like, we live in a culture right now where it's really hard to connect. And I think that I was looking at some of the statistics, and we're at an all-time low for trust. I think trust in Congress is around 10%. That's extremely low. And even trust in the military now has gone down, and in almost every institution, the media, everything. And so I think we live in a world of churn and disengagement. And so if we can meet people in person, I mean, these are great meetings, but if you can meet people in person, it's a lot easier to start to determine, is this someone that I feel really close with? And that you can start to use some of those primal instincts of like, yeah, this is someone I'd like to be with and to work with. I think that we don't because we have so much technology now, we don't credit enough our ability to shake a hand and to really feel like, yeah, this is someone that I should be working with. There's a lot of intuition there, and I've leaned on that pretty heavily. I mean, my grandpa always said, like, if you can meet people in person, go do it. Don't try and this was a lot before Zoom, but I do this all the time. Like, I just flew out to Key West, and next week I'm flying out to DC, and there's a cost to it, but there's people that need to know that you actually exist, and not just on LinkedIn or, on a Zoom call.
Yeah. Luke just added, you can't do a handshake over the phone.
No, you can't.
And you can't do it over Zoom, right? I guess you could high five the camera, but then you gotta.
Well, and I'll say that, like, the type, like, just the connection, and I'll say just you and me, Becky, like the friendship that we've developed, just being able to meet each other in person, has just been so. It's important because this is your community, this is your tribe, if you don't have that tribe, you've got, like, I'd love at some point to meet everyone in this call, but like you have this, all of a sudden you realize that these are real people and they've got families, that there's much more. We're such emotional and social creatures, but we try and pretend that like this is actually better for me to just be on my desk away from society and then to have my Netflix, and that's just not, I don't think it's healthy for us.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was talking with my kids and I introduced, we were goofing around and I introduced them to here's the blast from the past, to Max Headroom, and showed him like who he is, right? And my my friends was like, oh, so that was like Zoom before Zoom was Zoom. That was Max Headroom. I was like, no, totally different. But it sometimes feels that way, especially when you have the cliffhangers happen. So Ryan, I want to ask you this question here because I think this ties into what Juan was saying. It's a good add-on. What's one thing that you wish more military-connected entrepreneurs understood about building a business network?
Well, I mean, I think Juan really hit the hammer on the nail. Even if you have this robust social network that's online, like LinkedIn, and I've seen it just over the last 3 years, especially. My network on social media is pretty robust, but then I wasn't going to live events. I wasn't really going and being interactive with people. And it was when I decided to make that transition and deliberately go to conferences and go to different events that were live. I realized that I was able to really take that network I had established on the internet, but really, to Juan's point, develop that relationship out to more than just a surface level relationship and start building those ties and having more meaningful discussions. And I mean, you're an example of that, Becky. We knew each other as Bunker Lab ambassadors virtually to start, but we've been to several fly-ins, and now we've been, talking and building our friendship here over the last year. And I think our relationship is a lot deeper because we've had those conversations face to face with each other. To Juan's point, really, and the same thing with Luke. We wouldn't have been so tight as we are, like brothers, if we didn't say, hey, let's have an opportunity to connect every once in a while, whether it's with Bunker Labs or him traveling up to Chicago, so we can do our hobby and our profession, talking business and being us. And so that's what's important. I mean, you really do need to get out there and be face to face with people. Shake hands and kiss babies, as they say.
Yeah, no, and I'm gonna leading off of that, you guys are like teeing these up so perfectly for me. I want to jump to Dr. Shorter because guess where you can find places to go networking. We do a class called Strive, and in it with our marketing, we tell them, hey, go to a networking event and talk about your business. And they ask me, where do we go? And of course, me being a chamber gal from back in the day, I said, your chambers put on events, your chambers have events, there's SBDCs, there's other things you can do to get into these opportunities to connect. So Dr. Shorter, what advice do you have for veteran entrepreneurs looking to plug into local chambers or affinity-based business communities?
There are three things to me that are important. They sound simple, but they can be challenging. Show up, stay curious, and stay connected. At some point, we want the benefits, but we don't want to show up. We want the relationships, but we don't want to stay connected. We want to be at the tables, but then we're not curious enough to really find out what tables, where, what's beneficial to me, what's beneficial to my business. And sometimes it may sound very transactional, but it's really transformative, because at the end of the day, this is about your business. And I say this all the time about our chamber networks. Folks always say they love to come, they love to have a good time, they love the food and all of that. And I say, if you showed up and you had a great meal and you drank and you did nothing, made no connection that was beneficial to your business, then that was on you, because the right people were in the space. I always say that it is the space where it's either your next client, your next customer, your next collaborator, your next contract, your next consultant. I stick with the C's there. Those things are in the room. Your network is a great currency. It's one of the best currencies you'll have. But
Yeah.
you got to show up. You got to stay curious. You got to stay connected.
Yeah, I love that. I'm trying to take some notes here. Showing up is a big deal, and getting involved sometimes, but making sure you're getting involved with the right things so that you're benefiting. And I love that, being present with the people in the room, because yay, you ate a conference meal, yay. You have to
You had the hotel chicken.
Yeah, yay, the hotel chicken. Yeah, no, we
I'm hungry now.
yeah, seriously. We worked with a couple of youth groups, and one of the gals, she was like, no one wants to talk to me because I'm a kid. And I said, you're standing on the same carpet. Go talk to them as if you are a business owner. And she came out of that room with a stack of business cards. It was amazing the difference that can make of being present in this space. I love that. So Jackie, I want to come to you, and then I think we need to wind down, because this has been a phenomenal hour. Like I said, I'm down to keep going all day long, but I know you guys got lots of plans today. So I would love, Jackie, you've been in the business space for a while. You've been a business owner. You've worked with a lot of different organizations across the state of Utah and even nationally. I would love to hear your take on maybe your success when it was directly tied to the strength of your support network, or if you don't want to share that, you can share a different entrepreneur success directly tied to the strength of their support network.
So a couple things with that. One, I don't think your support system's ever going to take credit for your success, right? Like, our entrepreneurs are amazing and the work you do is amazing. I've seen a couple different things when people have the right support system. One, it is really like confusing foreign language. Like, maybe you do need that support system just to get started and understand. But so often I find the people that are super successful, they're probably going to be successful anyways. Like, just being honest, right? But the trick is, with the right squad, with the right support system, you get there faster because you have that in place. I know for myself, if I would have known the SBDC existed 20 years ago when I started my first business, I would have saved so much time, so much money. My growth would have looked different. I would have chose a totally different growth strategy. I ended up franchising and then selling a couple stores. But I would have done it different, right? And I could have been more successful. So we're here to help you not take on the load, right? That's another thing. We're not gonna make you successful. You have to do the work, but we are here to help you and point you in the right direction. An example this week, I'll share. I know one of my businesses I'm working with is about to hire 2 people, and the state of Utah has the Ready Grant, which helps, if you're going to employ people in rural areas, they have a little bit of a grant to help cover some of that cost. And they had just opened it up in my county to include some new cities that aren't technically rural. Doesn't even show on their website yet, but they opened it up, and I called right away and I said, don't hire them yet, right? Because you have to start the process before. And that's what's important about being connected and having the support network and having people have your back. As a business owner, you're so busy, right? And you're doing a million different things. But when something comes up, when you have that network, it's not going to make you like, this is what is the one thing that made me successful, right? But it's going to help you. what's an extra 6,000 going to do? Where can you put that? Right? That's what the ready grant part is. But we are here to help you in any little way, but all those little ways will help you get there faster. It'll help you get there cheaper. It'll help you get there smarter. And I love being part of people's team and helping them find that success.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. So we're going to go just around the horn. Thank you, Jackie. I tried to take my notes on the comments here and pull things from each of you so that we can remember some nuggets here. But I would highly recommend that if you're in the phase of starting, if you're in the phase of growing, if you're in the phase of, I don't know what to do next with my business, even if you're on that verge of, I think I'm about ready to hire my first employee, come have those conversations. Like, all of us can help have those conversations. Your chambers of commerce are phenomenal resources, as well as the small business development centers. And we all work together. I think I said on one of these webinars, it might have been yesterday, that what I'm trying to build here, what we've been building in Utah, we're building an ecosystem, not an ego system. It's not something to feed an ego or to keep moving forward and saying, look what we've done, because whoopity-doo, that's my job. But what's really hitting the nail on the head is seeing all of you be successful. That's for me when the payout comes for us. So I would love for you all, if you're willing to share, if you could add one person or one type of resource to your squad today, what would it be? Luke, we'll start with you, since your bandwidth is working.
If I can, well, we're stationary, we're like one stop away. But if we could add one person or one system to my business today, what would it be? To be honest with you, if I had the opportunity to start my business with the BBRC or start my business with the SEA, if I had known that resource, that is what I would have done. But moving forward to where I am today, we're doing it. It's adding tribal members to my business. And that's what we're doing, and we're doing it together. Thank you for asking such a great question.
Yeah, thanks. Juan, you're the next one on my screen.
I think that what we're going to be looking for are people that are ready to get things done on the ground. I think that there's a point where you're 30,000 feet above, and there's land, there's veterans that are ready to just get after it. And so if I'm talking about who I would add to our squad, it's going to be the boots on the ground. That is going to be what gets us to the next stages. We have, all the right people, VBRC, we've got SBA, we've got government, there's just so much support, and that has been, building that tribe has been the most fulfilling part of being being an entrepreneur right now. It's just has so much opportunity. But yeah, I think that's what I would look at is partners, not just like that are, individuals coming in, but I think that any partner that is on the ground, needing help, needing to get after it, we want to be working with them.
Yeah, I love that. It's great talking points for future ones. You guys are giving me ideas for future conversations we can have. Mm-hmm. Dr. Shorter.
I think for us, really building out our technology arm support and infrastructure, because we have just found that I was taking notes like, okay, who did this webinar like this? Who set this up? Oh my God, the lead in was amazing. Oh, it had music. So it sounds simple, but part of what it's a good challenge to have. But we, in our review during our board retreat 2 weeks ago, 22% of our chamber membership now is outside of the state of Utah.
That's powerful.
And so understanding that, yeah, we may have to be in the boxes quite often, but that is due to, as Juan was saying, showing up, being in the spaces, going to accepting the invitations, right, to speak on panels, to be in rooms, but also to be in rooms and spaces to learn more of what's out there and to get the looks in the spaces. And, I can say this here. When I go in spaces and I say, oh, I, represent the Black Chamber in Utah. What? You're where? Doing what? Why? And but when I share actually what's happening in Utah, right? And the things that there's that great interest there, and it helps us to build our network and gain more partners and opportunity to collaborate that's beneficial for our businesses, because we know that one of the most important things I think that entrepreneurs have to understand, and we have made it a priority, and I think technology will help that, is understanding that your business isn't just colloquial. It's not just the community where your brick and mortar or where you sit in office. This is a global economic ecosystem, and understanding how to participate and compete, sustain, and be successful in it. So I think the technology piece of that is critical for us at this time.
Yeah, I think that you're speaking, you could speak for a lot of organizations with that same talking point. I love that. And we've been very blessed to connect the way that we have to put this on today. So love that. Okay, Jackie.
Okay, I will speak from my business hat right now because you're asking about Squad and what's the next resource. And it kind of goes to two parts of this, right? So I've been working really hard on my business to hire the right people to free up the time, because that's super important as a business owner, and having the right people means the world, right? But with that free time, what are those resources I'm going to do, or where am I going to go for my squad? And I'll just say I love this, because even I pulled something out of this, right? Like, I need to get out there and connect more. Me and my husband have two businesses. I need to get him out there and connect more. And I may seem like an extrovert to some people that know me. That's because you're already in my squad, right? But like, it takes a lot of work. So if you're an introvert, or you're not comfortable, you know what? Those people that look comfortable probably aren't comfortable either, right? And so my takeaway is I need to get with my resource in my squad and be like, brainstorm, soundboard, because I have limited time, which things make the most sense for me to get out there and connect and be where I need to be, right? Because that's the thing too. You got to be strategic. You can be connecting all day long and then not go anywhere. So being strategic about those connections, and I know my awesome squad will help connect me to the right places that I need to be. So
yeah, that's so critical. And Ryan, I saved you for last for a reason, because I'd love for you to answer that question, but also give kind of a peek at what's coming for Vet Social 26.
Sure. Wow. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about Veteran Social Summit, but also the squad, the peers, and everything. Everyone here today, and also for the last 4 days, have just brought so much value to the veteran community as a whole, and really thankful for the Utah VBRC for allowing us to be just a little part in this. It's been very exciting to just watch everyone and to interact. So everyone here is a resource. This is available on replay, by the way, once this is complete, and all the different talks that we've had this week. So don't be scared. Go over to Utah VBRC 2025.veteransocialsummit.com and register, and you'll be able to watch these replays forever, which is just amazing. So the value is sales is the heartbeat of what we do. So they're important. There's Rosie Network, there's VBRC, there's the Black Chamber of Commerce in Utah. As we've learned, there's so many free 99, the free stuff, as much as you can, because it will help you to grow your business. Now, as you get involved with all these resources in these organizations like Rosie Network or Warrior Rising or IVMF or PinFed, all these organizations also bring something very powerful: network. So going out there and being deliberate about it will help to grow your network. Speaking of networks, you have conferences like Veteran Social Summit, which is coming again. Vet Social 2026 will be hosted next September. So we're quite a ways out to start thinking about that, but you can find more information at www.veteransocialsummit.com. Military Influencer Conference. If you're in the military space, which this is all about the veteran space, even Becky has gone to the Military Influencer Conference and can testify that there is a lot of value there to be able to take your virtual networks and to really transform them into the live network. So that's an opportunity, our Veteran Edge. And I could ramble on about the resources that are available out there for the veteran community. And instead, opposed to doing that, just connect with me. I'll be more than happy to share anything that I have, because I've been on this entrepreneurial journey for about an accidental entrepreneur 10 years ago. And I've been on this journey, this crazy journey of entrepreneurship, and want to share whatever I have to the veteran community to help, really grow and elevate all of you that are out there, whether you're veterans, military spouses, or mil brats, or just human beings, maybe even aliens. I'm here to help you out with whatever I got. So thank you. And I'm looking forward to our partnership with Utah VBRC. So thank you, Becky. I know that we're going to have a series of webinars coming up in 2026 that are going to be amazing. I'm sure we're going to have everyone here back at those conferences too, in panels, growing our friendship.
Yeah, thank you. We're a little bit over time. I'll just quickly share tomorrow. We're going to be broadcasting 11 a.m., maybe a little bit before, I don't know, we'll see. But just to get everybody in there. But AJ Richards from the Farm is going to be our keynote speaker for our Unite conference down in St. George. We're really excited about that. We will also see if we can add Trent Staggs. He's our regional administrator from the SBA's Office of Advocacy. He's going to be joining us down there and giving some words of wisdom from him. I do want to call out Dr. Shorter made a couple of comments, and she's spot on. Like, a lot of times we are used as a fire department to help put out a fire when you have an issue, or, I need this thing, my hair is on fire. Well, our hair is on fire too. And we're happy to put out fire for all of us, right? And that's not to say that you can't come to us. That's what we're here for. We're here for all the hair fires that are out there. But it's also great to be part of the planning so that you avoid the hair fires to begin with. So thank you all very much. Bottom of my heart. I adore each of you very much. Glad you could take the time to be here. Hopefully you're willing to come back and join us for some future conversations that we'll be planning out for 2026. And we'll
Thank
see
you for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Becky. Awesome job.
Right.